So welcome to Yoga Studio 9. My name is Lauran Janes. I'd like to let us, during today's class, bring awareness to the idea that the practice of yoga is ultimately a practice of learning how we meet resistance. Because anytime we approach these yoga poses, we meet resistance. That's just the nature of the practice. And it's what we do with that resistance that ultimately is a great area for learning. And the opportunity to kind of reflect on how we meet the resistance in our hamstrings, in our chest, in our breath, can help us better understand how we meet the resistance that we meet in the world off of our mat. You know, the flat tire I got on the way to class this morning, or the phone call from the friend who's been hurt. You know, all of that is just resistance as well. It's just energy. So how we meet the resistance on the mat can often teach us a lot about how we're meeting resistance off the mat. So take a moment here, sitting in Sukhasana with your legs folded. Let your hands rest on your thighs and close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breath. You might notice in these first few breaths on the mat that the breath is a little shallower, perhaps not as deep as it can be. It's just a signpost to take the time to exhale all the breath out of your body. Empty yourself completely. Folding your hands in your heart in Anjali Mudra. Take a moment here, bow your head. So bowing the head is simply a way of honoring the inherent wisdom that sits at the heart. In yogic philosophy, the aspect of ourself we refer to as the Atman, the highest self. Bowing the head, the ego, if you will, to the highest self. Listening to the highest self's intention for your time on the mat today. And then release your hands. So oftentimes for me, setting an intention is exactly what I need to keep me going through the resistance I meet on the mat. Because there's a lot of times on this mat you'll want to get up. You'll want to go get a cup of coffee. You'll want to call a good friend. That's the nature of the mind. So that intention is there to sort of reestablish and hit reset again and again as we flow. So bring yourself to all fours. Tuck your toes underneath, and as you exhale, curl your tailbone under and lift from the front of your heart up into the back body. As you inhale, melt your heart between your arm bones and angle your sit bones to the sky. Exhale, cat pose, and inhale into cow. So it's a very simple flow, so you can observe within the simplicity of these actions how the breath is entering the body. If it's meeting any resistance or the kind of resistance it may be meeting in your spine. And if you find a particularly resistant area of your spine, hang out there for a while. Just like giving yourself permission to meet some of the resistance with breath. And then continue your flow. Coming again into table pose, walk your knees back about 5 inches. Melt your heart again towards the hands, sustaining the strong, straight arms. Then move your side ribs back and lift your sit bones up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So the resistance we often feel in down dog is almost immediate in our hamstrings. So if that's you, walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat and bend your knees for a moment to relieve some of the resistance in your hamstrings. Then fan your toes and move from your inner groins back to your sit bones. Then angle your sit bones to the sky and press the tops of your thighs back. Again, you'll meet that resistance in your hamstrings again, so you can soften your knees again. Inhale fully, moving your inner groins back towards your sit bones. Angle your sit bones to the sky. And then fan your toes and press the thighs back again. 2 more breaths here. Lowering through your knees. Tuck your toes, walk your hands back, and grab hold of a strap or a tie. So I have to grab hold of a strap or a tie. So holding onto the strap, when I use these straps, I like to just put the metal end in my hand so that it's not clanking around as I move the strap. And extend your strap straight out from your chest. If it's uncomfortable for you to sit on your tucked toes, you can just float up off of your heels or put a blanket under your knees, okay? So it's kind of a cool thing just to learn how to take care of yourself in this journey and this practice of yoga. So from here, you're gonna draw your arm bones back into the sockets and inhale the strap overhead. So draw your arm bones into the sockets, okay? And then draw the strap overhead. As you exhale, begin to take the strap towards the back. You might notice on your way back, like I'm feeling right now, that I need to widen my hands on the strap in order to draw the strap all the way back without ever compromising my shoulder girdle. You're going to stop halfway. And you'll notice here the temptation is to really flare our ribs. This is what I see in most students, and this is definitely the temptation in my body. It's kind of flare out there. So to avoid that, I'm going to move my tailbone in, and I'm going to slide my side ribs to the back plane of my body. So again, I went from this shape. I drew my tailbone in, and I moved my side ribs back. Inhale fully. And then I exhale to the ground. Inhale at the bottom. And again, exhale halfway up. You might have found as you came up that your body's splayed out again. So that's just a signpost. Your body's feeling some resistance, so it's going to ease the resistance. That's pretty natural. But draw your tail in and slide your side ribs back. Inhaling fully. And exhale all the way to the top. Inhale at the top. Keep your tail in and your side ribs back as you exhale all the way down towards your